podcast where we dive deep into the pages of thriller and fantasy reads. I'm your host, Tamara, and today we are discussing our June buddy read title, The Full Visual Experience. And want to ditch the ads? Head on over to Patreon. It's exclusive after shows and tons of bonus content. If you prefer audio only, Spreaker listeners, you too have access. After shows and exclusives are available right now. Our community over on the Book Clubs app, and don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you are listening. Speaking of community, I am thrilled to welcome back my fabulous thriller mystery co-host and friend Classy from the Bookish Virtual Assistant. Welcome back, Classy.
Ooh, I heard fabulous and I had to shimmy. I was like, yes
girl.
Fabulous.
Always fabulous.
Right? Made my night. Hello, Tamara. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good.
It's going to be a time.
Yes.
Time will be had. The links to find both of us on our socials are in the show notes, so click around, please. Do all the things. We'd love for you to follow us. As always with book. So spoiler alert, you've been warned. By Alex Finlay. The audiobook is narrated by Brittany Presley, published on May 5th, 2025 by Minotaur Books and Macmillan Audio. The hardcover is 312 pages and the unabridged audio is 7 hours and 24 minutes. Classy, would you kindly share the synopsis?
Absolutely. In the glow of their children's exciting first year of college at a small private school in Northern California, 5 families plan on a night of dinner and cocktails for the opening festivities of Parents' Weekend. As the parents stay out way past their bedtimes, their kids, 5 residents of Campisi Hall, I believe that's how you pronounce it, never show up at dinner. At first, everyone thinks they're just being college students, irresponsibly forgetting about the gathering or skipping out to go to a party. But as the hours click by and another night falls with not so much as a text from the students, panic ensues. Soon, the campus police call in reinforcements. Search parties are formed. Reporters swarm the small enclave. Rumors swirl and questions arise. Libby, Blaine, Mark, Felix, and Stella, the 5, as the podcasters, bloggers, and TikTok sleuths call them, come from 5 very different families. What led them out on this fateful night? Could it be the sins of their mothers and fathers come to cause them peril, or a threat to the friend group from within? Told through multiple points of view in past and present, marking the return of FBI Special Agent Sarah Keller from Every Last Fear and The Night Shift, Parents' Weekend explores the weight of expectations, family dysfunction, and those exhilarating first days we all remember in the dorms when our friends become our family. Mm-hmm. Great synopsis, I'll say.
Yeah, pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. As we do, high level.
I was left with, okay. It was nothing exciting, high level. I would just say that was a good little story. I could see it being a little decent Netflix limited series that I would just watch and maybe even play in the background.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So for me, I didn't love it. The best part of it was that Sarah Keller was in here. I said, "Oh my God."
I wanted to text you and I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, did you get to? I was like, oh my God, she's back.
But the other book I wanted to read by him that came out before this also has her in it.
So, did you read Every Last Fear?
No, it was on my list, but I hadn't gotten to it.
Okay, so yeah, it's this one. Yeah, so I remember from The Night Shift when she was pregnant with the twins. So yeah, but when they mentioned that, I was like, oh my God, I was excited for her.
Yeah, I do love her character. I still like her. She is the best thing about the story.
Mm-hmm.
Her and her
Bob?
husband.
Yes. I was like, forget the five. Once Sarah came into the story and I knew exactly who she was, I mean,
Mhm.
granted, her story, period, like I did like the way Alex brought her in,
Mhm.
because it wasn't to solve, the case of the five. It was brought in because of the security detail for the senator, right? The mother, and I think she's somebody in Senate, Stephanie Blaine's mom. That's
No, she
why.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
that's how
because
she.
she asked for her, right?
Right. She asked. Well, because of she was an FBI agent, so the missing children really wasn't the five. That wasn't the reason why she really came into this story. It was because of Stephanie. That's her name, right?
Okay, so I got that different. So what I had
Did you?
got was, she's new in that area, right? They're there visiting
True.
Bob's dad. So it was the weekend. She wasn't even supposed to be working. They said, "Hey, go over to the college. There's something going on. We have this
Mm-hmm.
high level profile person."
Yes.
They're like, "Girl, you're doing too much. Take a seat."
Exactly. That part.
And
And that's it.
then,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and the high profile, it was Judge Akana and,
Mhm.
so you had those two high profile people.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, I do like that that's, kind of how she was brought into the story. It wasn't a direct line of, oh God, there's five missing kids because, yeah,
Yeah.
I did
It was
like
good.
that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that was nice. Slow though. And I
Mhm.
really hate a slow start, especially when it takes so long. And this book is not big, it's not long, but
No.
I just could not. I'm like, what the hell is going on? It just took so much. And then the round table of all the parents, and I knew why we were getting that. We needed that information, but I just really wasn't enjoying it that well.
No. I remember you saying that. You was like,
Yeah,
I just the characters were not. You were not invested. Which I mean, you can like a story without being invested in the characters or even caring about them or liking them. But I did get your point. Um, I think what got me the first, it was slow. I agree,
mhm,
it was slow. But I think the thing that drew me in was the missing girl.
mhm,
That's what I was really looking for. Where was she at? And then once we found out that she was dead, then it took, that turn
right,
into the kidnapping. And then it was like, oh, and you're right. We had to delve into not just the five students, but the five parents. So you
right,
have 10 parents
mhm,
basically, because well, I will say nine parents because what's his name? Mark, we only learned about his dad, not his mother. But
right,
the other, parents, it was a two-parent family, even though one was divorced. But we did learn from each of those. So you have nine parents and
mhm.
then five students, and then you have Sarah. So there was a lot of characters. Let's cut to the chase. There was a lot of damn characters
And
in
dare
this
I
story.
say almost too many characters. I It took a lot, and I think it was good that the chapters were headed with their last name, so you kinda
Mm-hmm.
know, we're talking about the Kellers now, we're talking
Right.
about,
And it made you pay attention. I
Mhm.
love that. I love when an author does that because,
Yes.
yeah, because I think there were different narrators. Am I right? I know
No, it was one lady.
it was just Brittany.
Yep, Brittany
Okay,
Presley.
who is has definitely moved, and we've listened to a lot of books by Brittany. I would put her up there with one of my I, narrators that I really enjoy. So I do like Brittany. I know we didn't get to that part yet, but that did help for me to pay attention when they
Mhm.
would say the Okanas or the
Yeah.
Kellers or whatever, because you do. I did tune out after a little bit because it was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Where's the kids? Okay,
Mhm.
they're telling me stories. Where's the kids?
Yeah,
I was just like, let's get back to the kids.
right.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I the parents were all kinda very interesting, but also dull at the same time. I wanted to spend more time with his. And when we switched to the 5, that got interesting when we got a chapter here or there with them. But I wanted more chapters. I wanted a better chance to figure out who did it, who kidnapped them, because honestly, the way the story unfolded, it kind of felt to me like it was a dump at the end. Like there wasn't enough there for me to even figure out who the kidnapper was. It was just,
Exactly.
yeah, there were no strings
It was
that
like,
told us.
surprise! Yeah, there were
Yeah.
no context clues. There were no little Easter eggs. There was nothing that gave us a clue until Bob's sister made a comment and Sarah thought about it,
Mhm.
basically. And she was like, who would have the motive? And that's the only way this it was solved. It was resolved at the end, and it was just like, I figured it out. Let's go. Let's
Mhm.
run. And I was like, are you kidding me? This is
Yeah.
how we're going to end this book?
Yeah. So we had to figure out, well, Sarah had to figure out who kidnapped the children. And then it ended up being, well, who killed the original girl that was missing?
Right. But prior to that, we had to go through everybody
Yeah.
from each family because, as the synopsis said, the sins of their mothers and fathers, did they come to cause them peril?
Mhm.
So we had to deal with the sins of the mothers and fathers. And in each sin, someone from their life could possibly be a kidnapper.
Right. If you want, we can round robin those if you want.
Sure. Where shall
Why
we
not? I mean, they
start?
are the main characters, I guess.
It is Parents Weekend.
It is Parents' Weekend. Totally.
And you know,
So,
and now that we say this out loud, which is still a little, it's not ironic because Natasha's parents didn't come for Parents Weekend,
right.
but they are our parents.
Well, that's because she was not in the same capstone with the 5. The 5 were all
Oh,
in the
I'm
same, they
glad you
started
caught that.
together. Yeah.
I'm glad you caught
Remember?
that.
And Natasha was there already, which is why the one kid, when he was confronted by the dad later, he's like, I didn't even go here last year.
You're right. You're right.
It
Right, because
wasn't
they're
me.
freshmen and Natasha
Right.
is older. Okay.
Mhm.
That's right, because Libby and Costello introduced Libby in the crew to her, and she looked up to Natasha because she thought she was, yes, okay.
Yep.
See, thank you for refreshing my memory.
Oh, of course, no problem. So let's start off with the Roosevelts. So that's Blaine's mom. She's a state department official.
Okay.
Poor Blaine was murdered. Not murdered. He's not murdered. He was kidnapped when he was a child.
Hmm.
And then obviously his parents have a horrible marriage. The dad can't keep it in the pants.
Did the dad, he had an affair? The
Yeah,
dad?
the guy is the one who her husband was the one that kept flirting with everyone and went for the
No.
walk on the beach.
No, that's the one who couldn't keep it in his pants was the plastic surgeon. That was Stella's dad, the Maldonados.
Mm.
Blaine's dad, which the mom is the Senate, right?
Oh, he was the
The
one that showed up
author,
when he wasn't supposed to.
right? He showed up on his, and he was the author
Yeah.
and lost his deal, or he couldn't produce a second book or something.
Yeah, it's like he lost his luster. Yeah, he was the one that
Mm,
showed up on campus when he wasn't supposed to be there. It was
right.
her weekend and he just showed up. So
Mm-hmm.
at first, he was a person of interest for 2 seconds when they were like, "Hey, we saw you on the camera." So
Yeah.
that's Blaine's situation.
And right. And Blaine was kidnapped because somebody was trying to scare them out or for ransom or something, right? But nothing came out of it. It was
Yeah, I don't remember the details, but it was some kind of state thing going on where she had either identified something or something, and it was something. And then since then, she's had a couple threats and all of this, and that poor kid. He's like, "What's the likelihood you'll get kidnapped again, abducted again,
right.
twice?"
Getting struck by lightning twice. Yeah.
Oh, poor kid. So Stella, who are the Maldonas, I guess. So he's
Maldonados.
Maldonados, thank you. He's
Mm-hmm.
the plastic surgeon who flirts with everyone and has a big problem with infidelity.
Yes.
Um,
Slept
and
with his
he's
assistant.
yes, he slept with his assistant. That what was she a nurse or something? She was a nurse.
She was a nurse, yeah.
Or anesthesiologist or something. She was somebody that he worked with. And that guy, her husband, found found them like cheating out in the wild,
I
pulled a
know.
gun, and he committed, the deed.
Yeah. He unalived
He
himself, yeah.
unalived himself. And to top it off, her son saw the dad unalive himself. So he had an axe to grind against David
Mm-hmm.
because, my dad's gone and you were messing with my mother.
And you're
So,
the reason behind this, yeah.
yeah, so her son, the nurse or whatever her job was, here he is on this campus as well.
Yeah. And I don't think he was a student. He just happened to show up. Am I
Uh-huh.
right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah. He wasn't
Yeah.
a student at whatever this is, Northern California school. But Miss Maldonado saw him. She's like, I think that's him, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So he
It was not
became
good.
a possible suspect in the kidnapping of the five because, as you stated, he had an axe to grind.
Yeah.
He wanted to take possibly an eye for an eye.
Well, in the end, he did hurt someone, right? He tried to come for the plastic surgeon on the beach. Wasn't that him who tried to attack him? And then they were
Believe
like,
so.
and then, because he fell. Remember, he was in the hospital. He got out. He was fine.
Mm-hmm.
They said, hey, and this kid ended up wanting to unalive himself as well. But
Right.
then Sarah was like, they don't want to press charges. It's it'll be okay, and he
Yeah.
actually almost did until she jumped on him like a crazy lady,
Mm-hmm.
as she does.
That's
Stopped him
Sarah.
from jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge.
Right.
So yeah, so that was that. I think they did arrest him though, but at the end he got a happy ending. It seemed like he was doing okay in the end.
Yeah.
So Libby's parents, the Akanas, she's got the judge dad, and she has a sibling that died to cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the mom had an affair as well. She had an affair
Right.
with a guy who was obsessed with her. He turned into a stalker.
Right. A police officer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Libby, with the cancer brother, she felt like she had to be perfect because her parents, well, especially her mom, spent most of her time trying to, well, dedicated to the sick son, and Libby felt a little left out. So her coping mechanism was to be perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah, on their way up to visit Libby for Parents Weekend, their tires were slashed at a coffee shop. 3
Mhm.
tires. And they weren't sure what happened. And come to find out it was the cop. And he became a suspect because
Yep. Because they
he
found a tracker.
he wanted her, and he wanted Mrs. O'Connor and him to run away. He loved
Yeah.
her. Leave your husband.
Psycho.
Yeah.
And she actually, tried to save her husband when he showed up for her and tried to get her to leave with him.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, he had to be the hero. He's like, my wife.
Right.
Gotta stop it.
Mm-hmm. It was
But
like, no, don't bring your ass up here. And he was like,
yeah.
watch this.
But you know what? For them, it worked out. They're all happy, lovey-dovey
Yes.
in the future. They
Yes.
managed to save their
I guess
marriage.
I guess we should have mentioned that at the end of the marriages, the Maldonados divorced.
Yep.
Rightfully
They sure
so. Who else did we talk about? Blaine's
did.
parents.
Yep.
I think they just wind up co-parenting better. And we talked about Libby. So yep. So now we just got Mark and Felix.
Yeah, so Felix, his mother works for the university's dean, and she left an abusive husband years ago. Like, she fled.
Mm-hmm.
And
Packed him
her
up.
story was kind of sad.
Yeah, it really was.
Mm-hmm.
Felix was considered a scholarship kid.
Mm-hmm.
He was a loner, a different kind of kid who didn't talk until later on in life. And his mom kept promising things would be different. That's what, and they were talking in the uh, while they're being kidnapped and possibly led to their doom. They were just telling different little stories about themselves. And he said his mom kept telling him it'll be different in high school. Kids treat you different, and it wasn't. And it'll be different in college. And it did become a little different. I think he found his found family.
He did.
He kind of blossomed, and come to find out, he stole some kind of file. That his mother had, and that was like the big secret there. Because like you said, his mom is the dean's secretary, and she had access to that report, the creeps report, I think that's what it was
Mm-hmm.
called. And Felix had taken the creep report or something. So, and in the end, I'll let you finish that part.
Well, unfortunately, Felix did not make it. He was the one who was accused by Natasha's parents of like harassing her,
Mm-hmm.
because he kind of had what carried through all of his years were like people kind of said he was a creep, right? Like, he just got that label and couldn't get rid of it. And so,
He was socially awkward.
yeah, and actually
Mm-hmm.
one of the girls in the group really liked him.
Mm-hmm.
So that
Libby.
was
Yeah.
yeah, so in the end his mother on graduation day said, "I'm going to start over," and she just walked out of her job. I'm like, "Well, good for you."
Yeah, because her boss was an asshole.
He like, "Go to CVS and get some cookies or some shit."
I know. And
I'm
I'm
like,
like, do you
"What?"
not realize this woman is thinking about her dead son who should have
Yeah,
been graduating with this class? And all you could think about is getting some nut allergy free, whatever desserts for
right.
the speaker. And she got her purse and got the fuck out of there
She like,
on the
"Yes,
most
sir."
important day. I was like, good
Yeah.
for you.
I guess she told her son, they would start fresh, right? And she said,
Hmm.
"This is me. I get to start fresh again."
Yeah. Yeah.
She just walked out of there. I don't blame her. I don't know how she stayed there for all the following 3 years, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that time jump, we had a time jump, y'all. So after the thing was revealed, then a time jumped ahead to graduation day. Okay,
Hmm.
so also Mark, he's the last one. So Mark, his mom is deceased, I think, and he's the one that had a father who was involved with the sexual assault of minors. And then he was like, that just was like a shadow over him.
Hmm.
He
Yeah.
could not shake that.
No, he got labeled on the creep list as well.
Yeah,
Yeah. And again, his dad was a possible suspect.
right. And
So,
Mark and Blaine ended up being really close friends.
yeah. Were they
So
roommates? Well, I know they were frat pledges together, but I don't know why I think they possibly were roommates as well, but
I'm
who
not
knows?
sure. I know they
Yeah.
were in the same fraternity. That's for
Fraternity.
sure.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So those are the five. And actually, it's really crazy how they kind of got labeled that because of the list you were talking about, like the creep list.
Hmm.
But this creep
Hmm.
list was a result of Natasha posting it on a website. So this school had like some kind of like web app or something that the
Hmm.
students used. And it
Right.
was almost where you could just post anonymously all kind of stuff about people, like Gossip Girl style, but in an app.
Riz, right? Was it like the Riz or
Riz.
something? Yeah.
Yeah. So after she wrote that, it's like all of a sudden, we had this, it kind of came out how that occurred.
Hmm.
And it was really goofy because I think, was it Stella who ended up running her mouth to her?
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
because Stella is the one who introduced them Natasha to them because Natasha was into drugs, and Stella was like, "Hey, got these psychedelics." Natasha, so because she was trying to basically get with the cool kids, and
Mhm.
she kind of did. She ran her mouth off to Natasha, trying to impress her, and Natasha kind of ran with it and exaggerated a few things. But there was she even accused her professor of being a creep. So it was the five. Well, not yeah. Everybody was on that list, right?
Well, they had the professor on there, but I don't think he was called the professor. He was just something. And then like they
Doctor
had
somebody. Mhm.
yeah, and then the others were like not accomplices, but like I forgot the word that the author used. But it was basically like people who kind of they're not maybe not creeps directly, but they're friends of the creeps, or they a lot kind of help people get into these bad situations. I can't remember the exact verbiage he used.
Okay.
Friends of the creeps, kind of like the creeps and
Right.
the friends of the creeps. I mean, she accused him, and he was doing the deed. He did.
Mhm.
eh, I have to say though, so when Agent Keller, aka Sarah, went to talk to the professor, because I don't remember how she flagged him. She was in his class or something. How did she flag him to go talk to him? What was the catalyst for that? Do you remember?
Um, I think when they look at the records, he had been accused. When they looked at some kind of records, because she worked with the campus security, and I believe this professor was listed on that. No, who told the intern, Anna. Anna
Mhm.
had mentioned that she knew um, who the professor was, but it was I can't, like you said, I can't remember if he was called the professor, but he was mentioned, and I think they dug a little deeper, or she found out something on TikTok or the Riz who the professor actually was,
Yeah.
and then she went and confronted him. Sarah confronted him, but I mean, she knew exactly who. Oh, it might have been. Did they mention the class? It was something with the class too. So I can't
Right.
remember if the class was mentioned in the post, but
I'm not sure if the class was. Maybe it was because maybe that's how she was able to trace it back.
mhm.
And then, of course, he came with a good story. When she shows up, he's there with his wife and a young baby, and he gives this really, I gave her so many chances. She kept skipping my class.
Right.
Really made it seem like she had something going on with her. Natasha had issues. And unfortunately, Sarah was like, well, I kind of believe him. She did believe him.
Yeah. I mean, he did. He gave a good alibi. I'm trying to help her, and she keeps missing classes, and now we know possibly why, because you were stalking her.
Yeah.
I
She
mean,
didn't want to come to class.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know why she didn't just drop that freaking class. I don't care. Look, if you need to get away from that man, you drop the class. And even if they say it's too late to get your money back, I don't care. Drop the class.
I'm risking it
I'll
all.
take the incomplete over taking a fail or whatever happens. Like,
Yeah. Yes. I'm
drop the
risking it
class,
all.
girl. Natasha, girl, get away.
Yeah. But yes, Sarah believed him. I mean, he did. He had a good story. Looks like, young professor. I tried to teach them that you can't accuse people in my, because it was a civics class. So he was, telling them the perils of when you accuse someone or falsely accuse them, what can happen. And
Mm-hmm.
I believe Sarah had a little heart for him because he was a father of twins and she's a mother of twins. So I think that kind of jaded her judgment a little bit.
Honestly, it did. She's up there rocking one of the babies and putting the
Mhm.
baby down. I'm like, you are just doing too much. These people
Yeah.
are not your friends. What's going on?
No.
I'm not
No.
going to walk into someone's house. Hey, I need to question your husband, but hey, let me help you put one of your twins down. They're a little whiny. I'll just be sitting there so that babies were put down. You're gonna
Mhm.
mess with this
I'll wait for you
lady's
guys.
kids.
Yeah.
Like, come on, Sarah, get it together, lady.
Yeah, but in that moment, she realized too, she looked in the nursery and saw how beautiful the nursery was painted. It was hand painted. He had an artist come in and paint the walls with beautiful butterflies. And the
Yeah.
wife said, he calls me his butterfly. I was like, oh, sweet. But you know
Oh.
what I immediately thought of? Because, I've worked in higher ed and I've
Mhm.
seen these professors and how they run through these young girls. And I was like, I wonder if his wife was one of his students.
Yeah, she was young. She was young. I
Mhm.
bet she
She was
was.
young. Yeah, because they did
Yeah.
mention how young she was, and I was like, I bet she was one of his students. They didn't say
Yep.
how young, but yeah.
But those painted walls came back later. So I guess it was a good thing she ended up in that nursery because she would have never made the connection later.
Mhm.
Because okay, we can go on, but let's take a quick break.
Okay.
It's a great time to take a break. You guys check out these commercials. Check out the book review journal available right now on Amazon. And also head on over to the new merch store. It's on a new site. It's by Dashery and it's cute. And there's some fun stuff there. So go ahead and pick yourself up something bookish. All right, we'll
Yay.
be right back. Okay, welcome back. Let's talk about Natasha, since we kind of talked about the professor. So when Natasha died, of course, have you ever heard of, I can't even think of the podcast name now, but it's a true crime podcast. And they always say, they have this little hook at the beginning. And they're like, you can't trust County.
No, I've never heard of that one.
Creep Time. That's the Creep Time podcast. I actually
Creep
like
time.
them. And
Okay.
they always talk about how if leave it up to the county, sheriff's department, whatever, the little county people, they will fuck up a murder investigation every time.
I agree.
And that is
I
exactly
could
kind of
say
what happened here.
I'm thinking of my county. Yes.
Yeah. You
Mhm.
can't trust county because these fools gave her phone back to the parents. Like, that is evidence. You gonna give it back?
Yeah. Immediately.
Yeah, immediately. And that
But
is
did the
crazy.
county do it or did the school do it?
Well, no, because the phone was with her when it was on her person when she
Okay, that's
died.
right. So the university wouldn't have
No.
done that part. Yep. Yep, you're right.
Mhm.
Yep.
So, and that was the catalyst, believe it or not. A phone. A phone was the catalyst for all of this.
Mhm.
Hearing messages, seeing messages, digging into your daughter's personal life in a way you probably shouldn't have.
Yeah. But they wanted answers. He wanted to know what was her last conversation. But you would think, like you said, don't trust county. You would think the police, that's what they would do.
Right.
But they believed it was an accidental drowning. So they had
Right.
no reason. But I mean, that was just so quick
It was
to
too
judge.
fast.
Yeah, to make a decision.
It was way too fast.
Yeah.
So I'm now I did not go back and listen, but I still don't 100% exactly know how she ended up in the cave. So I know where they were all on the beach
Mhm.
kind of drinking and taking drugs, so everyone was kind of effed up. The boys wanted to get back at Natasha for calling them creeps and doing something else, so they had some kind of prank where they put blood on her or
Mhm.
something.
Mhm.
So I guess she was knocked out, right? She was not passed out from too much drugs and alcohol.
Right. She was passed out, and at that point, Felix thought she was dead because he saw the blood. He didn't know that Blaine and Mark had put fake blood on her. So
Mhm.
he thought she was dead. So
Mhm.
he carried her, he picked her up and carried her somewhere because he didn't want his friends to get in
To get in
trouble for
trouble, yeah. But he
killing
didn't put
her.
her in the cave. He put
He
her
didn't put
somewhere
her in the cave.
else. Yeah.
They think she woke up and I think she either from now this is the part where I'm kind of getting a little fuzzy because the professor said she called him.
Mhm.
Because I think she woke up in a daze because she was, still under the influence and didn't know where she was.
Mhm.
And he I guess she may have gave him her location or whatever, and he went down to the beach, and he's the one who placed her in the cave.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm like, did he just put her in there? Was she knocked out again? Did he follow her in? Did she walk in and he I'm like, that part was
Yeah.
kind of fuzzy.
Yeah. Because right,
And
because well, yeah, I think he did because in the recording, because her father plays the recording back, and it's saying, "Hello, who's out there?" And
yeah,
then all of a sudden she recognizes who it is, and she's like, "Get away, don't come towards me." So I'm believing he, pushed her in there knowing, high tide was coming, and left
mhm.
her there.
Yeah, I'm like, why didn't you just run out? I mean, that just seemed a little weird to me.
Well,
Like,
she was still high. So,
yeah,
she may have been a little, out of it, not especially if you wake up in a place that you don't know and in a cave or close to.
but she
Uh,
had enough sense to hit record on her phone.
okay. Okay, plot hole
Plot holes. Pew,
discover.
pew,
D-
pew. Holes all.
Pew, 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 pew. Right, plot hole discoverer.
I know. I'm like, but she was smart enough to like do that.
And
So
not just that, and then put it back in
in
the
her pocket.
plastic.
Yeah.
No, not her in the plastic protection
Yeah, so it didn't get
holder that she
damaged.
had.
And she
You
just
know,
happened to have that.
so let's bookmark that, because did you listen to the end of the book when he talked about credits and all that?
Mhm.
Okay, so yeah, that's funny that you say that, because I was like, what other plot holes or some things that you know were kind of odd. So, but yeah, she did have enough sense to hit record and then put it in her waterproof cell phone case and was able
Yeah.
to preserve all the footage on her phone, although she drowned. Yeah. So
Yeah, that was pretty interesting. I mean, that was I don't know. I guess.
we sound so enthusiastic here.
I know. It's a mess. But, I just feel like Alex really wanted something punchy for the end, and it just didn't really hit the way I needed it to.
It did not.
And it was, again, like he just threw everything in the kitchen sink at the end, and it didn't quite just it didn't deliver, I think, what he wanted it to.
No. And like we were saying too at the end, the way the um we discovered who the kidnappers were, um dear listener, um
Mhm.
is she was talking with her sister-in-law about, kind of with the case, and the sister-in-law was like, if someone did that to my family or someone I love, I would want them to pay as much as, I would want them to hurt as much as, my family hurt. And that's when
Mhm.
it hit her. Who would want these people dead
Mhm.
or to hurt the way their loved one? And that's when it hit her and the reader too. Oh my God, it's Natasha's parents.
Mhm.
Their daughter died and they want revenge.
Right.
Um, and like you said, throughout the story, there was no inkling, there was no nuggets or Easter, nothing dropped in this story to let us know who could have been the kidnappers. And this really, to me, I think this is the thing that really bugged me with this. There was, how like they say plot twist. This wasn't even. This didn't even feel like a plot twist. It wasn't. It was just like, huh,
Exactly.
okay, yeah, that's how I felt.
Yeah.
And at that point, we're at what, like 85-90%, if not further. And I'm just like, oh, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
That was it. After
That was it.
you just hit me with probably 20 possible suspects.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because we're trying to figure out who killed Natasha and who kidnapped the people, the
Mhm.
five. So, like we said, we had the parents and all these different characters, the 10 parents or the 9 parents, and then if we think about that, the 9 parents and then their possible suspects. So that's at least one of each from the couple. It was a freaking lot.
Yeah, there's a
It was a
lot
lot.
going on.
And I was surprised at how many people died in this story.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oops, there's another one. Oops, there's a like." I did not. I'm not kidding. I did not expect. I did not
You said
expect
so
Felix
much murder.
and mayhem. I did not expect Felix to die because I thought, the dad. He told Natasha's dad, "I'll take you to Doctor Doom or whatever she called him, Doctor whatever." So I'm thinking, here, this kid, like, why did Felix die? Did the dad say, "Yeah, thanks for telling me who Dr. Whatever is," and poof? Because when we see them at the story, Felix is already on the ground dead. And I'm like, what the hell?
Right. I wanna know.
Why
That's why
did
I'm like,
he
did I
die?
miss something? How did he die? Why? And honestly, I
Why
don't
did he die?
understand why he had to take him there. All he had to say was, "It's this professor."
He was trying to redeem himself because he felt like if he didn't move her, that I know he had a guilty conscience because he felt like if he didn't, he was like, I'm going to fix this basically because he thought she was dead. He didn't know. So he felt like I need to redeem. I need to get this straight.
Well, he also wanted them to let his friends out of the cave, so they were kinda
True.
just standing there holding them at gunpoint like, "You can't come out of the cave," which also goes back to my other thing, like, why the fuck didn't Natasha just walk out the cave? I'm like, "Okay, so anyway," so he was holding them
Girl, them
there,
psychedelics was psychedelicing.
and they were doing something,
And some
so
alcohol. I mean, because I don't know. That's all I'm assuming. Because I've never, but I'm thinking like between the drinking and the drugs, maybe they were just freaking out of their mind.
yeah, I don't know, enough to just pass out on the beach somewhere and just not
Mhm.
even feel someone pick you up and move you.
Mhm.
You're out.
Yeah.
You cannot I mean, how do you not wake up?
Yeah. But yeah, there was a lot of dead people in this book.
But it wasn't even scary or creepy, which
No,
was
it
odd.
wasn't. It was just
Just wa
like, okay, he's gone. And then
and another one, and another
another one.
one.
Yeah. I was like, okay, but yeah, I was just really surprised. I mean, I know it's thriller mystery, but yeah, I did not understand why Felix was killed. But anyway, yeah, and Natasha's daddy was like, everybody dies.
I think that's another thing that I was missing. Like I said, nothing was scary, nothing was ultra creepy, nothing I mean, we're in bright, Santa Clara or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's, beaches and teens and college and, something bad happens. But I don't know. I just wanted the vibes weren't giving me.
No, it wasn't scary. They were kidnapped. And
But I didn't even what's crazy, so, like, even the little things, like, okay, we see the people driving the van, the Snoopy van, what was it?
Scooby Doo van,
The
the
Scooby Doo
mystery van.
van with Smurf mask on, right? And that didn't even creep me out at all. I'm like, "I don't what is happening?"
Yeah, that part. It was not.
Yeah,
It was not. It was nothing. Maybe it was a Scooby Doo van.
maybe it was that.
Meddling kids.
Uh-huh. It kinda felt
Nothing
like
was
that, and they're gonna rip off their mask, and they literally ripped off their mask.
that part.
The mom ripped off her mask, she tried to persuade the father to, like, do the right thing.
We knew
And
all the time it was
yeah,
you. If it
yeah.
wasn't for you meddling.
That's what it felt like. And literally, they just had these stupid Smurf masks. I'm like, "Get out of here. Is that on purpose?" And then it just
Well, they
all
said, yeah. Well, they said the masks were in the back of the van from a previous frat party, some Smurf
Yes,
party. I was like, really?
I know.
Yeah.
But how the reveal came out and then the mask and the Scooby Doo van, it just seemed like, oh. It made it funny
And this
almost. I'm
passed
like,
the
"What?"
test. And this passed the test.
Yeah.
Mm,
Oh
mm,
my
mm. The
gosh.
more
I
I
don't
talk about
know.
this, the funnier it gets.
Yeah, because, like
And not in a good way.
and no, not in a good way because so, again, I did not read the other book. I did not read what was it? Every Last Fear? But
Mhm.
the Night Shift had, like, a dark undertone. It was
It did.
dark.
It really
It
was.
wasn't funny like this. I don't
I don't remember nothing being funny.
No. So,
No.
Every Last Fear, I don't know if that had a dark undertone or not.
Yeah.
I'm hoping. I mean, so, like, the quote of the first thing was they found the bodies on a Tuesday, so that's pretty creepy.
Mm.
So, that's Every Last
I don't
Lies,
know. Natasha was
synopsis.
found. Well, no, we didn't. No, Natasha was missing. We didn't find
Yeah.
her. Yeah, that's how the story started with her.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it was kinda just told via school correspondence that, "Oh, this chick drowned in a cave," So,
Mhm.
we didn't even have firsthand interaction with finding her or
N
anything.
No.
So, I am that makes me curious to see what Every Last Fear was about. And I suspect, again, Sarah Keller is gonna be the highlight of that book.
Mhm. Yeah.
But I
Even though
am
she's like a
curious.
secondary character, she really plays a
Mhm.
part key role. But, I did wanna mention how you brought that plot hole up of her having enough Natasha being her, having enough sense to record, then put it in her waterproof phone case. So at the end of the story at the end of the story, I wanted to say David, but him and David Ellis are friends.
Yep.
Alex mentioned, you know, his previous book, there were a lot of mistakes, and he had received emails from people
Mhm.
saying, duh, that doesn't happen. You missed some things. Yeah, XYZ. And he said he hoped he did better. So, I was like, so after all that, you would think he would even do better with this one.
Not so
And I'm
much.
like, and I mean, the people that he talked to, procedural wise, I think he probably got some of the things right, like the data, the what was the one thing they could the neo something they couldn't get
Mhm.
because of some laws. Was it phone? Oh gosh, some
Oh,
kind of
so they needed to, like it has something to do with the phone, and actually that was kind of interesting where they had to go to the judge to get a warrant to get the stuff from the phone,
Mm-hmm.
and actually that was the catalyst that had, what's her face want Sarah on the job because, like, you never send a man to do a woman's job.
Oh, that's
'Cause
right. Because she
yeah.
knew some things that yeah. So
She
yeah,
knew
so
how to
so
talk to the judge to get the warrant. Like, there were things that he needed to say that the local guy can't trust county. The local guy
yeah,
just couldn't
that
do it.
lawyer that said, "Let me do all the talking."
Yeah, he couldn't do
Mhm.
it. Like, "You
Yeah.
sir, I know more than you." Like, and she didn't wanna step on anyone's toes, but she's like, "He's losing it, he's losing
Yeah,
it."
because her
I got a
boss had
statement.
literally told her, "We need you to be low key because you're
Yeah,
all over the internet up there trying to save someone about to commit unalive themselves on the bridge."
yeah.
Um, so, like some of the procedural stuff, because he said, he spoke to some FBI agents, I think, campus security over Georgetown University and some other things. But some of these little things that, that we're picking up on, it's just like you said, like she couldn't just walk out the cave. Granted, it was on psychedelics, but to record. So if you can't walk, you have enough sense to record because I mean that's hand eye coordination. That's some that takes that's like walking almost like that fine line when you're drunk. Can you walk the line, ma'am? There's
Mhm.
certain things that when you're just so out of it, it's like drunk texting.
Right.
I mean, so But yeah, he mentioned, hey, the book before this one, which I'm assuming is that one you just mentioned, is it Every Last Fear, or I'm
Yeah,
not
I
sure what's
think
before.
so. I wish he would, like, kind of tag these in a way so we know that
If
these
you
are the
go on his
ones.
website,
Let's
I think
see.
his books are listed in order. If you go under books, because I didn't
Let's
realize
see.
he wrote a book before Night Shift.
But I think Night Shift was the first time Sarah Keller appears,
Yes,
I
she's the
think.
first one.
Yeah. And there was also If Something Happens to Me. I don't know if that has Sarah Keller in it or not.
No, Sarah wasn't in there. That was a local. Don't trust the locals. I mean, or county. That was the local girl where I think her dad was a police officer and she came back from the military.
Okay.
You remember that one? And
Yeah.
she was like a small town sheriff or deputy or something and
Oh,
helped
that's
solve.
right. I'm
Yeah.
like, I just read that. I gave it 4
We
stars. I
we
barely
read it.
remember it.
We read it. We did
Yeah,
it
we
on our
read it.
podcast. Yeah.
I'm like,
It
we
was
read
decent.
that.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was yeah, because the Night Shift got a 4, and If Something Happens to Me got a 4.
Right. So when you look on his page and go, under books, I think it shows in order.
Keller. I'm just trying to do
Yeah,
a
I
quick
think Keller only
search.
shows up in Night Shift in that Fear book from what
Okay.
well, in the synopsis I just read, it mentions. So, and usually the synopsis comes from the publisher, right?
Mhm.
Usually. So yeah,
Well,
she was
I don't
mentioned
know.
there. Sarah Keller shows up in Every Last Fear and the Night Shift.
Okay. Because I
So,
just put this in release date order.
but the thing is that's where Sarah Keller shows up. But he
Mhm.
mentioned in acknowledgments or the last page, he mentioned the book before this one is the one where he made a lot of mistakes that people emailed him about.
That
So
was called What Have We Done?
okay, so that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So
Mhm.
what have we done? He said he made some mistakes, and I think someone of high ranking or some kind of official kind of pointed out to him, hey, that's not how that's done. And this is when he enlisted more experts. So I
Yeah.
mean, I don't think I
Hmm.
want to read it, but I'm curious.
I'm curious too.
I know, like, what the hell did you
Like, will we
do?
be able to spot it? We
I
probably
know
will.
now. I'm curious. Like,
Hmm.
that might just be one of those one-offs. Yeah, I'm curious to see if we could spot it,
Mhm.
especially after reading this one and kind of going back.
Mhm.
I don't know. I think it might be a good, when you're not doing anything and have a little downtime to
Yeah.
see how many pages that book
But
would
when
be.
is that? I don't know. I
I
never
know, right? Will I remember? But
Right.
yeah, but I mean, I I I was just it had to be very important for him to mention it at the end of the book and to say, "Hey, if I got any other mistakes, email me." Well, he said email David Ellis,
Oh,
which I thought was funny.
look, he went and got the judge to help him clear some things up.
Mhm. He said they became instant friends. I was like, I could see that, but yeah. But I also found out that most of his books have already been slotted to go
Yeah, I saw
to
that,
film. Yeah,
including Parents' Weekend.
I know. But I could see,
They've
but
already been optioned.
yeah, I could see that.
But
Even though it's not that great, I could see it being an option for.
so yeah, I saw that everything that he basically has written has been optioned. But we know just because it's optioned doesn't mean it's going to make it to the screen.
No.
I am curious because I think that there's some really good stuff here. He definitely has one character that is the through line through 3 of his books. So if someone wanted to make a TV series, they could do a multiple
Mhm.
seasons with multiple books using one character as the center point, and she's the best part of the books.
Yeah. Yes, she is.
So, I mean, I would watch. I would
Mhm.
definitely watch.
Yeah, especially if they focus on
Mhm.
Sarah. And I would love to see what comes out of little intern Anna,
Yeah, that could be fun.
which he said is based on, someone he really
Yeah,
met. So, yeah, I would too. Like I said, some things I could see because they'll tone down some of the minutia
they'll
of the
tighten it
story.
up.
Definitely. Yeah.
They'll
So,
realign the focus where it needs to be. Um,
hmm
kind of like they did with the Will Trent
definitely.
stuff. They really lightened up that show. They lightened it up. They
Oh yeah.
changed a lot,
Oh
but it's still good.
yeah. Oh, they lightened up because Karen
We know
Slaughter.
she is dark.
I Woo! I was like her therapist, if
Yeah.
she has one. But anyway, I love you, Karen. In case
Love
you're
your
hearing.
books. But you know what's interesting also in those acknowledgments? I'm like, wow, all the people we read, they just all know each other.
Right. Yeah. When he started naming people, and they're probably all in their little
Yeah.
writing groups because they all write mystery thriller. But yeah, it was cool
Yeah.
to hear
Like,
that.
wow.
Kind of like makes it. I was like, I kind of miss going to a nice mystery thriller
I almost would
conference,
do
but there's
Thriller
not
Fest
many out
again.
there.
I would. I feel like I
Yeah,
almost
not
would,
that.
or
Yeah.
something like it.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, so we'll have to talk
Yeah.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause I'm
Yeah,
like, there's so
I
many
would too.
fantasy
It was
things. There's
fun.
so many romance things. Come on, bring me the gore and guts. The
I
scary
know. And
willy
that's
feelings. Give me the thriller and mysteries. Like,
right. There's sci-fi,
yeah.
all that. Like, come on. We are out here and we want the
Yeah.
stuff.
Get some big names.
And not all the old fuddy-duddy white men. I'm
Sorry,
sorry.
not sorry.
No, not sorry. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Like introduce us to some new up and coming diverse mystery thriller.
Yeah, give me
Yeah.
some new stuff to
And
read.
make it reader
Yeah.
focused because a lot of those are more writer
Yeah.
focused. But
That's what they need. They need
yep. But if Alex is there, I mean, I would enjoy,
mhm.
Alex and David Ellis and yeah, and Karen
Yeah, she was
Slaughter
nice when we
again.
met her.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, she'd be like, "What? Me?
She was nice.
Yes, you. We know you. We know
Yeah.
you in speaking.
I
Yeah,
mean, all
so
the authors we met S.A. Cosby, he was nice.
oh,
Yeah.
yes, I got his. Well, I know we talked about Alex, but I got his new book today, so
All
I'm excited for
right.
that one. Yes, came
Don't
in the
start
mail.
early now. Don't do it.
No, I'm not. I'm
Okay.
not. I'm not. I'm a hold
Okay.
tight.
All right. Let's rate it. We still haven't rated the book.
I know. We didn't talk about
Let's rate
everything.
Parents Weekend.
I gave it a 3.
Same.
Yeah. Yep.
3 it is,
It
which is
was a solid
disappointing.
3. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was hoping for a 4 or 5. I think I had my expectations too high. I shouldn't have done that.
Well, and I think when we picked this book, because when you look at the rating now, it's 3.5.
Mhm.
And to be honest, I don't think we would have picked a book at that low of a rating. So I
No.
think it's, because it came out did it come out in March or May?
Yeah, it came out May 6th.
Okay.
So, it hasn't been from our recording date, it's been just over a month.
Wow.
And it's been
But we had
they
picked this book, but we had picked the book.
before.
Yeah. And that's arcs and,
And we
yeah.
know those always tend to skew higher just because they're
And
arcs.
yep. And now I won't say the real readers, but the ones who aren't afraid or who are going to give honest reviews,
Yeah.
honest reviews. That's when those ratings change. And
Yeah.
they definitely have.
They have. It has skewed down for sure.
Hmm
Um, but I still think he's definitely not an auto-buy author for me, but he's one that I will look at again. I'll give
hmm
it another go and
Yeah.
see
He's
what he
not a
comes up
Riley
with.
Sager.
No.
No, I won't. I'm not going to give up on him, but because I mean, he's hit or you know what I mean, like he's hit or miss.
Yeah.
This is probably I think I gave Night Shift a 3.
Mhm.
But it was it was not a low 3, but it was a 3. And then the book we read before I Gave a 4. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I believe he writes good characters, unlike the other person I just talked about. He always writes female characters, and I don't enjoy the way he writes them. So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we're talking about Riley Sager, by the way.
Yeah. I
Just
didn't
in
want to
case
say
y'all
his
don't
name again,
confuse.
like Beetlejuice.
Sorry. Just don't confuse
That's
it. We're not
good.
talking about Alex Finlay.
No,
So.
not Alex. Riley. Riley writes
Yeah.
female characters. Every story is his main characters are females, and yeah, just like
Right from
we
a
don't
different
do that
POV. Give it
shit.
a try. Give it a try.
Yeah,
I don't
we
know.
don't do that shit.
No.
What woman does that? I mean, the women I know. But anyway, that's me.
I know smart women who don't do dumb shit.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yes.
Yeah.
Took the words out of my mouth. I was thinking that.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I think we're going to end things there. We've had enough of Parents Weekend.
Yes.
We do have a new book already slotted. We're not going to tell you. You have to join us on book clubs or follow us on one of our socials or join us on, guess what? The Patreon people already know. So they know before everyone else. So if you want to join on Patreon,
yeah,
you can get a heads up.
FOMO is real.
Yeah, and you can actually, we're going to be reading one of the recommendations from a Patreon member. So,
yes.
It's a place to hang out. It's a good place to be. So if you want more, that's where you need to go.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to end things there. Thanks again for listening to this entire episode. We appreciate you for doing that and spending your last hour with us. And we'll catch you in the next one. Take care of yourselves. Bye, guys. Did you enjoy today's episode? If so, please head over to Apple Podcast or Spotify and leave a positive 5-star review. It's a simple action that makes a big difference. You can also like this episode on your favorite podcast player or share it with your fellow bookworm friends on social media. Joining the Shelf Addiction Patreon family is another way to support us. For as little as $2 a month, you can help our team create even more amazing bookish content. If Patreon isn't your thing, consider becoming a supporter on the Spreaker app for just $5 a month and gain access to exclusive audio-only content. You can find me everywhere, including Instagram, X, and TikTok under the handle Shelf Addiction. Join our book club of the same name on the book club's website and app, where we discuss all things bookish and more in a safe space. The Shelf Addiction podcast is a part of the Nerdy Maven Network. Thanks for tuning in.